Hello and welcome to the very dismayed Knicks-Verse. Welcome into the Knicks-Verse. If this is your first time here, I apologize because I'm usually a little more jovial, a little more optimistic. I am going to struggle to find that in any way tonight. In fact, I'm not going to. No. Tonight is going to be, I'm just going to lay it out there. This was Game 49 of the season. So there's 33 games left of the 2021-22 season. The Knicks dropped. They basically, let's just go to it. Here we go. This score doesn't tell the story at all. 110-96. The Knicks are now 23-26. They were once down by 30 points in this game. This was an absolute debacle, a travesty. This was a humiliation by the Miami Heat on their home court of the New York Knicks. The starters came out and basically, as you can see down there, they allowed a 13-2 start, and basically the game was over from that moment on. That's it. I'm going to try to keep this recap brief, but it's mostly going to be a rant on the state of the Knicks at the moment, especially with the trade deadline looming. There are things happening with this team that can change, that can improve, but they are being held back by the situation that the team has put itself in. And by the team, I'm not just referring to Thibodeau and the players. I'm also referring to Leon Rose and the front office, who still has not spoken to the public since before the season began. Now, I know most presidents / general managers, or whatever you want to call them, they don't really come out and speak too often, but they do a little bit. You hear from them from time to time. We hear nothing. We hear nothing from Leon. And it pisses me off. Hate to say it. Pisses me off. Despite the incredible drafting that this team has done recently, the lack of actual moves, except for the Derek move last season, which turned out to be the best trade possibly mid-season that was made all last year. Other than that, there really hasn't been much. We re-signed some guys, brought in 2 new guys that totally did not work out with this team. Evan Fournier and Kemba Walker, who once again Tom Thibodeau chose to start tonight. I don't understand under what scenario. Thibs, I'm told, is an analytics guy, and the Knicks have built out their analytics department. Well, guess what? I do a little analytics too. I'm not as nearly as good as those guys, but I'll tell you, it's plain to see that playing Kemba Walker with Julius and RJ is basically shooting yourself in the foot and then trying to run a marathon. Plain and simple. He doesn't mix with those 2 guys. And then he doesn't actually provide much else to overcome for the lack of mix. Fournier, when he's not hitting shots, is basically, he's a total liability out there. Tonight, the starters were an absolute travesty. And I'm going to show you one specific stat to highlight this. The team had 24 assists, which is a nice number. That's a good number for the Knicks. Knicks have not even been averaging that. They were averaging even below 20 assists for a stretch. The starters played 120 minutes, and the bench played the other 120 minutes. Only because they were blown the fuck out by the Miami Heat in that third quarter. So Thibs just went with the bench. Look at the assists. The starters only had 7 measly assists combined. 7. The bench had 17. That's right. Let's go to this. Look at the plus minus. Julius, minus 34. Mitch, minus 18. Walker, minus 30. In 19 minutes, In 19 measly minutes that Kemba Walker played tonight, he was a minus 30. Fournier, minus 27. R.J. Barrett, who played 24 minutes, shot 6 of 11, 3 of 5, hit 60% of his three-point shots, 3 of 6, 50% of his two-point shots. Even got you 2 assists, even got a steal. He did commit 2 turnovers. 17 points, second leading scorer in this on the team tonight. He was a minus 36. That just shows you how distorted some nights that plus-minus stat can be because you're dependent on the unit that you're playing with. Well, there it is. Look at the bench. Toppin, plus 20. Reddish, plus 9. Yeah, we got to see Cam Reddish only because it was a complete and utter humiliation in that after that third quarter. So Thibs finally relented. Reddish was headed for another DMP/CD. Quickly, plus 16. Quentin Grimes, plus 18. Quentin Grimes played the most minutes tonight. 31 minutes. Didn't have the best shooting night. Would have been nice if some of those threes he jacked up actually connected tonight. He hit 2 of 6. They looked good. I mean, if he had hit more, he probably would have been fed the ball more. He probably would have taken more. His volume would have gone up. It didn't. Just wasn't happening for him tonight. The team overall, they shot 15 of 44 from behind the arc, 34%. Again, the free throws. RJ missed 2. Look at it. Mitch, we always expect him to miss 2. Burks. Alec Burks, even though he was a plus 5, somehow, plus 5, 15 minutes, 1 of 8. 1 of 8. This, and you know what? This is not even rock bottom. We're just on the bottom. Just getting dumped on. Getting shit on. That's what rock bottom is. You're just down there and all shit rolls downhill. And here it is. There it is, right there. But the beautiful stat of 24 assists, 17 of those came from the bench. Let's go back to this over here. Well, we just saw that. Man. All right. I'm going to jump to this right now. What's happened is Tom Thibodeau, our coach, who I respect tremendously. I wanted him to be the coach of the New York Knicks. I believe in Tom Thibodeau. A lot of people say, oh, Julius was responsible for what the Knicks did last season. He was, to a certain extent. But Thibs provided the structure. Thibs provided the game plan. And the Knicks were able to turn that into a 4th seed last year. Of course, the playoffs, we know what it was. But we also know why that was. Here it is. Thibs has trapped himself by his dependence on Julius Randle. And not just Thibs, but Leon Rose as well. And James Dolan also as well, who paid the $25,000 fine because he told Randle not to speak to the media. Because that was actually a smart move. Because Randle was shooting himself in the face with the, I already answered that. After they were trying to ask him about his mediocre non-apology apology on Instagram about the, yeah. So that was actually a smart move. Well, he didn't speak to the media again tonight. Thibs and the Knicks brass are like addicts. That's right. They know that it's bad for them to be tied to Randle, but they just can't quit. They can't quit Julius. They've trapped themselves. And unfortunately, Julius Randle has quit on us and on the Knicks. That's my only explanation for it. The Knicks in the past 7 games are now 1-6. In that stretch, Randle is a combined minus 91. Minus 91 in 7 games. That includes the minus 34 tonight against Miami, a minus 22 the previous game against Cleveland, a minus 26 against the New Orleans Pelicans. The New Orleans Pelicans, he was a minus 26. And then before that, a minus 22 against Charlotte. Julius Randle, for the 2021-22 season, is averaging 41.2% from the field. Barely over 40%. The three-point line, he's averaging 30.7%. 30% from the field goal line, 41% from the field in general. But he is averaging 3.5 turnovers per game, and they're deadly turnovers. And like I say, there are also the unaccounted for turnovers, where he just dribbles too much, makes a bad decision, he gets the ball to a player who is in a bad situation to do anything with it. That is just lack of basketball IQ. Now, tonight, actually, he did okay in that first quarter. Even though they were getting blown out, he was finding guys to make some buckets. He was spraying the ball somewhat, but he was doing it after he was getting jammed. He wasn't anticipating. Anticipation is what it's all about. That's what competitive sports are all about. Anticipating what's going to happen so that you can actually impact the result instead of being reactionary always. During that 1-6 stretch, Julius Randle is a combined in the plus in the net ratings, a minus 3.4. The other question I have is, what the fuck is Kemba Walker doing starting for this team? The guy has been completely ineffectual except for that, that little blip where he won Player of the Week, which I told everybody, don't get fooled by that. Don't get fooled by it. Well, here we are. What are we going to do with this guy? Are we going to cut him? We're going to trade him? Or we're going to keep playing him? And then Thibs, again, trapped himself by uttering the words into the air. I don't see Kemba. I only see him as a starter. I don't see him as a bench player. Well, guess what? He's not a starter either right now. I feel terrible. I love Kemba. He was one of my most favorite players to watch. But life moves on. It's the reality of the world. His best days are gone right now. I hope something happens and he can recapture some magic, but it ain't going to be on this team. We're way past that. Today, earlier in the pregame, I pointed out that someone tweeted Robert Concurrence, I think is his name. I hope I didn't blow his name. But you can catch it in the pregame. The Knicks have not had back-to-back 40-win seasons since the year 2000 and 2001. That's how long it's been. We were on target before tonight to win 40 games this season. Way below what I was hoping for. Way below what I think the quality on this team should be delivering. Something is wrong, and it's because the offense still gets run primarily through Julius. I couldn't believe how many times the ball was in his hands and how many times he made bad mistakes. How many times he wore the clock down. How many times the Knicks could not get a good look at the basket. And then there's the defense. His lack of effort on the defensive end is driving me insane. The game before against Cleveland, when Love went off for those 4 3-pointers in a row that he made, 4 in a row. The first one, Nerlens was guarding him, but the rest, on the second one, it was Randle guarding him, and he decided to switch with Kemba. He left tiny little baby Kemba on 6'10" Kevin Love. That's basically a wide open shot. So he hit that. That was his second one. Remember, this is after he burned Nerlens on a shot on a 3-pointer. So the second time he hits that one. And then the next two times, it was Randle lackadaisical to get out of the paint. He was on the elbow. He didn't rush out to contest a three-point shot. Boom! Love hits that. And that exact same thing happened again a fourth time. I don't understand why we keep doing this. Jeff Van Gundy, in the first quarter himself, he said, right now, I think it was about midway through, right now, I would just sub out the entire first unit and put in the second unit. I can't even, and then he was nice, because he said, I can't even tell who I would even keep on the floor. Well, guess what? RJ was the one to keep on the floor. RJ was actually balling. But when the ball is when the ball is not in his hands, what can the guy do? When the ball is in Kemba's hands, when the ball is in Julius's hands, what can he do? And he's also the youngest guy on the court at the moment. Even though this team should belong to him, he should lead this team every night, every single night. That is just what has to happen from now on. Now, my final point is this. If you guys saw this video, you know what I'm talking about. These stats have not been updated from, I believe, the weekend. However, it doesn't matter. It tells the story. Stop starting Kemba and put an end to the bullshit and start Emmanuel quickly. We don't have any other options. And plus, he is a plus player. I just showed you the stats. I just showed you what he did. Well, look what he did. Tonight, actually, he hit a few buckets. 4 of 9, 2 of 5 from behind the three-point line. His shot is starting to come around. He had 7 assists himself. In 22 minutes, he had 7 assists. And he plays defense. Kemba doesn't play defense. Burks is a lost cause right now. I don't know. He's like trying to find himself. Enough. Start Kemba. Bench Kemba. Start IQ, because you cannot have Kemba and Fournier on the floor at the same time. Fournier actually, even though he didn't have a good night tonight and he didn't have a good game the previous one, but he was actually leading the league in three-point percentage since January 1st. So he was on a good roll. Now he's off the roll, and then his defense suffers. I saw him get caught out of position many times. He just making many mistakes defensively. He needs to be engaged. And then he hit a couple of shots tonight. Let's see, I can't remember exactly what he did. He was 2 of 5 from the three-point line. He only got seven attempts. It's the other thing. They weren't actually looking for him in that first half. The debate is over. We got to start quickly. He may not necessarily be the long-term answer at the point, but that's irrelevant. We can't continue like this. We have to give ourselves a chance to win a game. And you can't do that when you start off 13-2 in the first quarter. We were down 30 points at one time. Now I want you to see something else before we end this. I hope I have it here. I don't have it here. All right, I have it over here. By the way, Obi Toppin was the star of the game for the Knicks. He provided, he was 18 points, 7 of 9 shooting. He hit, let's see, I forgot. He hit 2 of 3 3-pointers, and his three-point shot actually looked really good. He looked really good. He had 18 points. He was the game-high scorer, 18 points. Obi looked really nice. All right, I wish I had this up here. Sorry about that. But the first quarter, the Knicks scored 16 points. The third quarter, the Knicks scored 21 points. That's 37 points combined. First quarter, third quarter. Second quarter, when guess who plays? The bench. 30 points they scored in the second quarter. Guess how much they scored in the fourth quarter? 29 points in the fourth quarter. So they scored almost 60 points in the second and fourth quarter, and they could not even hit 40 points total. combining the first and third quarter. The futility of the first unit is killing my spirit, honestly. And it must be killing them for themselves too. I'm sure they're all winners. They want to win. They don't want to play like this. But the problem is the Randle addiction. Get off it. I'm sick of it. And don't start Walker. Start quickly. All right. Thank you so much for watching this. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Trying to get to 4,000. We're really close. Hit the thumbs ups. And I definitely want to hear what you guys think about this game tonight, or anything I've said, or any thoughts you have in general. All right. Let's hope we get lucky, man, on Friday. And let's hope Thibs actually does make some changes, because it's time. And I don't want to hear that you don't have room for Cam Reddish in the rotation. That is ridiculous. A rotation like this? Get out of here, please. That's ridiculous. All right, I will see you guys around the Knicks-Verse.